ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth where the two worlds meet. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. Well, the term curative education goes back into the 19th century. But the way we understand it out of anthroposophy, which is the philosophy that includes Waldorf education, so we can understand it as an education for children in need of special care, special soul care. That means that we want to help any child achieve their full potential, not only in light of their disability, but in light of their ability, is that we concentrate on the essential perfection of each child. There's a colleague, John Root, at a Camp Hill in North America, who has said, we are all perfect in our essence. We are all handicapped in our ability to bring this essence to expression. Now, these three senses of touch, movement, and balance are the ones that are the most important when working with our children. And we know that our children receive their sense impressions in disturbed ways. Who has kids that rock? These are kids who are playing with that sense of balance. Who has kids that stimulate themselves like this? Everybody has that. Jumping, flapping, finger flicking. They're using their behaviors to try and make their sense impressions make sense. Now, it's easy for us to organize all the sense impressions that we get. We can sit here and you can feel the breeze from the window. You feel this sensation on your skin. Many of our children can't identify that it's the breeze making their skin feel different. The fact that they can't process, they can't identify that sense impression means that their behavior is going to reflect that. Maybe they're so sensitive in their sense of touch that this feeling of the breeze is horrible to them. And they can't say, oh, please shut the window. What they do is grab onto somebody, and have a temper tantrum maybe. We have to be more and more skilled in our ability to observe the sense experience of our children. When somebody can't process their sense impressions, you're going to see it in their behavior. And you may see the child become aggressive, the child may withdraw, they may seek to exaggerate the sense impression. And we know that when they are not able to process their sense impressions well enough, they will feel sick in their thinking, their feeling, and in their doing. Now, we can give special care to our children's ability to think, to feel, and to do if we give them sensory exercises that are organized. So, now let's play. Now, I need a volunteer. Now, I want you to watch what we're doing and then tell me what senses that we're working with. Okay, so early this morning, clearly I heard out in the garden songs of a bird. Early this morning, clearly I heard out in the garden songs of a bird. Who knows with our kids with autism how hard it is for them to give you something? It's very hard to play catch with somebody with autism because they'll take the beanbag, but they'll never give it back to you because what they got with the beanbag was some sensory experience. when you throw the beanbag away, because the good thing about playing catch with somebody is that you're in a relationship and it's fun. But when you bring rhythm into this catching game, and especially music with the child with autism, you can kind of trick them into being in relationship with you. Early this morning, clearly I heard out in the garden songs of a bird. Early this morning, clearly I heard, oops, out in the garden. Songs of a bird. Now this is also something that's a real step for kids with autism or your kids who are quite developmentally delayed, because they haven't quite learned that when they can't see something, that it still exists. That's why you can play peekaboo with a baby, right? Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Because the baby who likes to play peekaboo is just beginning to understand that when you can't see something, it's still there. And for the developmentally delayed child or the child with autism, this still needs to happen. They have to think their way through that. It's not going to happen naturally. We all know kids who are disturbed in their sense of touch. Those are the kids who are always standing too close to you, right? Do you have those kids? Or those are the kids who are aggressive. Look at your aggressive kids and wonder, is it really that they have a disturbed sense of touch and they're so afraid that somebody's going to touch them that they do a preemptive strike. They strike first to keep them. So don't be so quick just to work on the behavior of the aggressive behavior, but try and think what is behind that behavior. So the child with a disturbed sense of touch, and all of our kids in some way or another have disturbed sense of touch, they're unsure of their own boundary. So standing inside the hula hoop gives you a boundary. Even though it's just from a visual cue, it really does, it's only because they can see that, right? It still is very effective for helping them have a sense of their own boundary. Kids with disturbed sense of touch, you're going to see something like that because they're not really sure where their own boundary is. So once you have observed that in your students, do some exercises with them that will bring organized sense experience of touch to them. A very nice exercise for sense of touch in the morning, and you would think this is an exercise for very young children, but even middle school kids can use this. So these are nice balls that we made in our handwork class. You can use anything, but this nice ball, because they made it, makes it even nicer. So I will just start and I say, I'm going to roll it on my head. Say, I'm going to roll it to my ear. Yeah, chamu, chamu. I'm going to roll it to my hoo, hoo, hoo. I'm going to roll it down to my neck. And you can see how this exercise is addressing the sense of touch, addressing sense of body geography, we call it, You can also use this for teaching laterality, what's right, what's left. Right, we roll it to our right hand, roll it to your left hand, and roll it all the way down to your knee. And you can continue like that. Mm-hmm. We all have moments in the classroom where you don't know what to do with the kids, right? And it's so important to have a lot of these little games that you can bring out and work on sensory issues with the kids. It's actually very important the kind of materials that we use. Try as much as possible to use cotton, not polyester, not plastic. Okay. Now, come and lie down. With all of these exercises, we need to be particularly careful of the children's. Yeah. There. Make sure the child is comfortable. They've engaged their sense of movement and their sense of balance. So now we could start to work on some cognitive activities, some learning activities. So maybe I make, what was that? What shape is that? Yeah, good. So you can see there are more ways to teach children shapes, to teach them their letters, than sitting them down with a worksheet. And you can have the other kids come over and we can say, oh, we're making a pizza. Oh, delicious pizza. And then you always let the child get themselves out. Are you dizzy? I want to say again that these materials are not expensive. You can easily find them or make them yourself. Oh, look how nicely she can do it. Now, just doing that is a real challenge for a lot of our kids. Yeah. And now can you step? And bringing this to consciousness can be very helpful for the children. Also, bringing some speech into it. Early this morning, clearly I heard, rather than walking in the beat. This is an organized sensory experience for the child who has chaos. This morning, clearly I heard out in the garden songs of a bird. Early this morning, clearly I heard out in the garden songs of a bird. Thank you so much. That was well done. Good, good, good. And you can use this in many, many ways as well. You can use this when you're teaching a math lesson. There are lots of different exercises that you will be able to think of. Just think of those three senses. Just work with those three senses: touch, balance, movement. And if you start your morning with the kids with movement activities, 10 minutes, it will make a difference how they are able to pay attention. The children will be able to pay attention the best after they have had movement activities. And this is not once a week or twice a week in a special room with a special therapist, every day in your class. Because we know that movement brings joy. If you feel depressed, the best thing to do is go for a walk. I want to say again how important it is to accompany these exercises with a song or a poem or a verse. We always want to bring the artistic element into the activities that we do with the children, because art is an essential human activity. It's not just for talented people, it is for everyone. This is something that we have to learn again, because we're very used to thinking, oh, I'm not an artist. Some great painter is an artist, but I'm not an artist. But in fact, we are all human artists. And as special education teachers, we are our particular kind of artists. We are the artists of the relationship. Because you know, with that girl, you can do one thing one day and it will work, and it won't work the next day. One of the things that the children help us to know is how to be creative. In every moment, they are giving us a chance to become an artist with them. We can make the space between us be kind of boring, be kind of routine, or you can make the space between us, you can make the time with the children full of liveliness. Every day you have a chance to be an artist with your children. I think educators around the world now are understanding more and more the connection between cognition and movement. That behaviors that were seen as maladaptive in the past, rocking for example, we now understand may well be the way in which a child endeavors to pay attention. We know that children with special learning needs are always going to have difficulty in integrating and processing their sensory experience. For example, we're sitting here in the rain, and both of us can kind of ignore the sound of the rain and keep on with our conversation. If we had difficulty with our sensory processing, we would be so distracted by that rain that the child, for example, would start to behave in a certain way that people would say, oh, why are they behaving in this bad way? But in fact, it's because they are making an attempt to integrate their sensory experiences. And the exercises that we did today are examples and techniques that the teacher can bring into the classroom to provide organized sensory experiences for the children, not only so that they will be better able to attend to cognitive work, to academic work, but also so that they can begin to integrate and process these things in a healthier way.